What's good? It's Woog. They recently announced the Grammy nominees for this upcoming 2024 Grammy ceremony. And there's one person I want to mention and kind of consider as one of the biggest snubs nominations wise this time around. And that person is a producer, songwriter producer who goes by Inflo. And I think that Inflo should have been nominated for Producer of the Year, non-classical. As it stands, the producers that were nominated are Jack Antonoff, who is coming off of back-to-back wins in the category. This year, he's nominated for producing Taylor Swift's Midnights and Lana Del Rey's Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard. He also produced a new 1975 album. So Jack Antonoff is a phenomenal super producer. And the other nominees were Hit Boy, who produced Nas's King's Disease 3, as well as 1 and 2. But for this year of eligibility, King's Disease 3, and then Nas's Magic 2 and Magic 3. So that's 3 projects within the last year of eligibility. And Hit Boy did a collab album with Musiq Soulchild. So he's nominated. D-Mile, who produced Victoria Monet's Jaguar 2, is also nominated, as is Metro Boomin. Metro Boomin, you know, the super producer who over the past year of eligibility produced his own solo album called Heroes and Villains, which included the single Creepin'. That's the one that takes that old Puff Daddy and Mario Winans song from like the early 2000s. I Don't Want to Know If You're Playing Me, Keep It on the Low. Well, the song that Metro Boomin produced was 21 Savage featuring The Weeknd, and the song was called Creepin', and they kind of used the same chorus, same structural songwriting theme. So Metro Boomin produced that, and he curated and produced the Spider-Verse Spider-Man movie soundtrack, which has some really phenomenal songs on there, really good songs. And the last nominee is Daniel Nigro, and he produced, or he's most known for producing, Olivia Rodrigo's latest album, Guts. He also produced the album by Chappelle Roan, and he produced like a song from Caroline Polachek's latest album. So comparatively, if you look at what Inflo not only has done over the past calendar year, which that's what he would be nominated for, but if you look at his track record, he's been producing like Michael Kiwanuka's last couple of albums. He produces Little Simz, the MC out of the UK, whose 2021 album, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, which was produced by Inflo, won the Mercury Prize, which is like it's a annual award that's given out for basically, the best album of the year. It's a big UK album distinction, and Little Simz, she won that with her album in 2021, and she dropped an album at the end of 2022, so that still falls within this upcoming Grammys year of eligibility. She dropped an album called No Thank You. No Thank You wasn't as good as Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, still a really, really good album. So Inflo produced Little Simz's work over the past year. But if you're familiar with Sault, S-A-U-L-T, the 3-person collective, sometimes it's expanded to 6 people, including like Chronics with 2 X's at the end, but it's a collective that includes Kid Sister on vocals, Cleo Soul on some spectacular vocals, and the producer Inflo. Sault is a very kind of mysterious, but very prolific collective, and they released 6 projects within this last year of eligibility on October 10th. And that, October 1st is like the earliest you could have dropped an album to be considered for this upcoming Grammys. But they released a project called 10, like on October 10th. And then on the same day, November 1st, they released the other 5 projects, Air 2, which is air with 2 eyes in the middle. They released Earth, Today and Tomorrow, 11, and Untitled with God in parentheses. Sault, and all of these projects were very different from one another, and they were all very interesting, very soulful, very melodic, very good. It's a kind of a blend of some neo soul, some ambient sounds, some jazzy sounds, some grime rap sounds. So Sault, very interesting collective. Again, 6 projects within the last year of eligibility, all produced by Inflo. So you've got Little Simz, you've got all of those projects by Sault, and then you've got 2 albums from the very underrated, one of the best vocalists in that R&B, indie soul, kind of neo soul space, it's Cleo Sol, who is a member of Sault, but just released 2 solo albums. She had a couple solo albums prior to this, but she released 2 very good albums within a span of 2 weeks. Heaven and Gold. Very excellent, underrated vocalist. Not to mention, Cleo Soul and Inflo are married and they have a kid together who is pictured on the album by Cleo Soul, produced totally by Inflo. The album is called Mother. But yeah, Inflo produced that, and he produced these 2 albums that again were released in September. Both albums released in September, Heaven and Gold by Cleo Soul, all produced by Inflo. So yeah, Cleo Soul, Little Simz, Sault, I think that he should have been considered for Producer of the Year, non-classical. But I think that the issue is that these artists, as good as their projects are, project for project, song for song, all super good artists, I feel like they are kind of slept on in the US relative to how popular they are in the UK. So it's almost like the word isn't totally out here in the States about Cleo Soul, Sault, and Little Simz. Like Little Simz, to me, she should have been like Grammy nominated for Rap Album of the Year a couple of times now, with the album Gray Area, with the album Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, and maybe even with this latest album, No Thank You. Like Little Simz, she doesn't miss. And again, this is all produced by Inflo. So yeah, give these artists a listen and think about there being the same person, Inflo, who is producing these very varied, I will say. They have different sounds. Even like within Sault's discography, certain Sault albums sound very different from other Sault albums. So he's versatile as well. But yeah, I think that Inflo is one of the most underrated producers in the game. I hope that he breaks big in the US because, you know, in terms of like just musically, and if you look at what he's done for Michael Kiwanuka and the other artists that I've mentioned, his reputation precedes him. I just think that it is taking a while for the US to catch on this one. But yeah, let me know if you are familiar with these artists and with Inflo's work. And apologies about my voice the entire video. I've been getting over a cold and my voice is basically like the last thing to recover. So thanks for bearing with me. And again, let me know your thoughts on Inflo, on Little Simz, Cleo Soul, Sault, and even Michael Kiwanuka. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love music like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.